but you have to stick with it. You've got to have the mental capacity and the maturity to say, I'm going to stick with it no matter what.
I'm joined by Joe Rosen. Joe, thanks for being with us again here on the podcast.
It's my pleasure, man. I love REDX, so anything I can do to help the community. How many follow-ups do you need to make on average to actually get a deal done, right? So when you look at the deals that actually get done, how many times did you have to contact them before it happened? And it was 7 point something, right? So for some, you might need to contact them 15, 20 times. For some, it's once or twice, but on average, it's 7 something. But they say the average realtor will follow up 1.5 times, okay? Now, I might not be remembering these numbers 100% correctly, but they're pretty doggone close. So what you're seeing is a huge disparity between what you need to do and what they're actually doing. And I think if you want to look at lead gen, people get frustrated with lead generation. I got to put in time. I got to make the call. I got to get rejected. All these negative things that are associated with it. But I'll tell you, if you're only following up 1.5 times, I can see why you're frustrated. I'd be frustrated too. You have to add that element. And I think it's really important to separate lead gen and follow up into 2 different time blocks of your day, which, my gosh, I just said like 17 things. Blocking off your time is absolutely critical. If you just wake up and you show up to work sometime between 8 and 9 o'clock and you just start making calls until you get bored, and then maybe I'll go into my CRM and make some follow-up calls, it's never going to happen. My whole day is filled with people getting in touch with me in ways that I wasn't planning for, at times I wasn't planning for, wanting me to get back to them in ways and times that I haven't planned for. So you need to have as much structure to your time as you can. And once you block that off, the first 2 things for me that are absolutely critical is CRM time and new lead generation time. And they should be appointments. And I can't tell you how often people will say, well, I haven't made calls because this popped up, or I haven't made follow-ups because that popped up. Are you going to say no to a listing appointment because something pops up? No, you're not. You're going to go. You need to go make your calls, and you need to go follow up through your CRM, because that is the lifeblood of everything that you have. And if you let that go, your whole business is slow for the next 90 days. I've been wanting to watch The Last Dance forever. And I'm so busy, I don't have time to figure out which subscription I have to get it. And I kind of forgot about it. And I noticed it popped up on Netflix last night. And I watched 2 episodes. And boom, I shut off the TV. I went to bed a half an hour early. I woke up a half an hour early. And I got to work. And all day I've been thinking, I'm the Michael Jordan of real estate. I'm the Michael Jordan of and I'm just like, I don't care what anybody says. I am out to crush it. And that's how I felt all day long. And I guarantee that's going to last 2, 3, 4, 5 days. Maybe it'll last a week or 2. That's motivation. Motivation is me coming in and yelling at you and firing you up. Tony Robbins giving you a big rah-rah speech with fire behind him. And that's motivation, right? Motivation dies out. It's fun. It's awesome. It feels good. It's interesting, but it dies out every single time. I don't care who you are. It dies out. Discipline is you being mature enough to know it's going to die out. And when it does die out, you still do the thing you know you need to do to be successful. That is what's important. So I think so many people I'll talk about a team. I attract a lot of people because of the energy I have on my team. I attract a lot of people who aren't motivated, and they look at me as the magic pill. And I tell them, listen, that's not why you're coming on this team, because it's not going to happen. I'll make you successful for a month, but after a while, you're going to get sick of me yelling and, get to this and do this. And pretty soon you're just going to be annoyed, because if you don't want to do it yourself, you're not going to like me telling you have to do it. And I'm not your boss. I'm the team leader, but it's your business. So you have to want to do it when you don't necessarily feel like doing it, or it's not going to matter anyway. So for me, discipline, again, it goes back to maturity, right? Like, everybody can do it when they're motivated. You need to do it at whatever your minimum standard is every single time, whether you want to do it or not. Every single thing we do, there's policies and procedures. There's a way to do it. And it doesn't matter if it's the most efficient way. It matters that we're all doing it the same way, so there's no questions asked. Once that happens over a period of time, you just get used to it. I mean, you and me both, right? We have different habits that we implement into our day so we can be more efficient. We can be more productive. We can communicate better, whatever it is. At first, it sucks. You got to think about it. You're probably failing a couple times here and there. You're doing it wrong. You're not efficient. You have to keep doing it over and over and over and over and over. And after about 3, 4, 5 weeks, it's just, that's how my day goes. That's who I am. It becomes a habit. It becomes discipline. But you have to stick with it through that. I'm making up 3, 4, 5 weeks, but whatever that period of time is, you've got to have the mental capacity and the maturity to say, I'm going to stick with it no matter what, so that I know I get that end goal, which is the ease of this particular habit. So everybody who comes into our CRM, we give them a stage, right? And that stage, basically, it doesn't have to be 100% perfect, but it lets you quickly think, how interested are they in making a move right now, right? So I'm making these up off the cuff here, but I think active client is, we follow up with them literally every day, and it's a call every single day. Now, if they don't like calling and everything else, and they're like, hey, would you please text me? Sure, we'll text you, right? Whatever you want. But it's a call first unless you tell us otherwise. And I think that's critical. Then I've got, it's called a short-term nurture. It's once a week. We've got a long-term nurture. It's once a month. And then we've got, it's called a prospect, which you don't have a timeline. So we get in touch with them every 3 months. And it's email or text, email or text, email or text. And then after 12 months, it's a phone call, right? Because you have to get that voice to voice. And then we've got unresponsive. I'll even put people, if I call people and they're like, Joe, go screw yourself. Awesome. I add them to my CRM and I put them as unresponsive. So if they ever in the future are like, you know what, that big bald-headed idiot can sell me a house, fine. When they call me back, I've got all their information up and I can see when I call them, all their house information, all that good stuff. So I think it's important to, and I was taught this, I didn't come up with this. Think of your market as, son of a gun, why is it not in my CRM yet? And every interaction you have with anybody, you're just putting them in there. Lender, put them in there. Inspector, put them in there. Buyer, put them in there. Your family member, put them in there. Everybody needs to be in your doggone CRM. And that is the hub where everything comes out of. But yeah, for me, it's really dependent upon when I think they're going to pull the trigger. And you can make up, is it going to be a week? Is it going to be 7 days? Is it going to be 6 days? Is it going to be 14 days? And I don't know if right or wrong answer there, but you've got to add a lot of voice. It's got to be voice heavy. Yeah, I've got active and hot. Hot is they're doing something in the next 30 days. Active is if it's a buyer, we're actually out looking at houses.
Gotcha.
Right?
Okay.
Like, all I got to do is find them the house. They're going to pull the trigger. And if it's a seller, they're ready to sign right now. They're just waiting on me. I just need to get the photographer in there. They're waiting on me. I'm the problem, not them. Gotcha. That is active. Yeah. Hot is they're going to do something in the next 30 days.
So then let's move to the short term and the long term. Short term, you said you're reaching out to them once a week. The long term, I think you said once a month. So let's talk about the short term people. How does that follow up? What does that look like? You'd mentioned you like to be voice heavy. Is that true in these short term prospects where you're reaching out once a week? Yeah. Or are you using different methods also? It's
email or text, and then it's a call. Email, text, then a call. Email, text, then a call. With the long terms, it's the same thing. It's only the prospects that are email, text 3 times, and then it's a call on the 4th time, right? Because it gets to be burdensome. Like once your funnel gets big enough, if you're doing what I'm suggesting, which is being call heavy, you're making a ton of phone calls, and that's on top of your cold calls.
Right.
So you do have to find that sweet spot of where you're going to be efficient, right? And if I do start to have so many people, right, these are warm leads in my funnel, I will reduce the amount of voice that I'm doing. I'll change those action plans and make them a little bit more efficient. I'll reduce the voice. It's not because I want to, it's because I want to stay in front of all of those great leads, right? But it's really important to have your system, and your system, like, listen, my system's going to change in 6 months. Like I said, if I get so many people in there, I can't keep up. I'm going to have to do less voice, or I'm going to have to build a bigger team. I'm going to have to do something, but just really focus on trying to be as heavy voice as you can.